the way to bring it in. That's the way to get it started. Thank you guys once again for joining me here on the Nothing to Prove podcast. I am your host, Dom Vitalli, and I want to thank you guys for joining us today for episode number 6 of the show. Moving right along, we're about a month and a half in, and the support continues to grow. And again, just want to say thank you guys for your continued interaction with the show, support, and comments. They do not go unnoticed, and they are appreciated. And just wanted to say, hope you guys had a fun and safe Independence Day this past weekend. It was quite an uneventful weekend for myself, for once. A lot of people were asking me, hey, what'd you do for 4th of July this year? And to be frank, I did absolutely nothing. And I enjoyed every last second of it. I actually pretty much didn't do anything for the 2 days leading up to that either, which felt really, really good. Usually I'm, always on the go and hardly ever get any time for myself other than this hour that I spend with you guys every week and the preparation that goes into this show beforehand and afterwards as well. But to get a chance to actually decompress and not worry about anything and not do anything and just kind of sit around and relax for once, it was a really, really good feeling that I've missed quite a bit, actually. Things have been quite busy since the beginning of the year, but in a good way. So I'm thankful for that. But I'm also thankful for the little break that I got there over the past couple of days over the holiday. But like I said, I hope you guys had a safe holiday. I know there was quite a bit of stories coming out the day after the 4th of July. You check the news and, you're looking for those stories of people doing some boneheaded shit to get themselves in trouble or hurt themselves or others. And sure enough, that was the case. I think like one of the first things I saw like the next morning was, these incidents with the fireworks and people getting hurt with them and stuff like that, man. And you kind of like tap yourself in the head, like, what is wrong with people? Like, how are you that clueless and that stupid to put yourself in a position to either severely hurt yourself or others, or even kill someone or yourself? There's a couple of examples that actually came out over the past couple of days. One, there was a 22-year-old kid in Maine who was drunk and probably acting like a bonehead and decided to somehow, some way, connect these some kind of firework to his head and decided to light it off. And sure enough, as soon as he lit it and it went off, he was killed instantly. So there's one boneheaded thing, and then you have a 41-year-old guy in Indiana who had an accident with fireworks in front of his entire family and basically blew his face off and died. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine just trying to have a nice, fun 4th of July and you watch your dad let off a bunch of fireworks and blow his face off and end up dead? I mean, come on. Unreal. Hey, my heart goes out to those families affected. I mean, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But to me, it's like the fireworks thing, man, is like so played out and so unnecessary. And it kind of goes back to what I talked about a little bit at the end of last week's show, is I just don't get this obsession or this the draw of fireworks. Like it to me, like, I don't want to repeat myself from last week too much, but it's like you're like an animal, like a dog or something that sees something really shiny and it's got your attention and you can't break your focus. It's like, really? Like, we've seen the same exact thing from fireworks since as far back as we can remember. And I just wanted to, I went back this weekend just to check. Again, it's like, I think sometimes, okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh. Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit. Maybe I'm just being a bummer. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, really, fireworks have not evolved in forever, like as far as I can remember. And actually, a good thing, a good feeling for me is that it seems this year there's more and more people speaking out about the ridiculousness of fireworks. Like I used to feel like I was alone or just a couple of us. Now I've been seeing a lot more of people kind of chiming in on their own and just kind of reiterating what I'm saying or backing up what I'm saying, that they're stupid, they're pointless, and it's like what's the no, I don't say what's the reasoning behind it. I get the reasoning behind it, but what's the point? There's no point. And so I wanted to prove my own theory, because I just kind of said that in jest last week, like, oh, they really haven't changed. There's been no technological advances in fireworks in the past, 20, 30, 40 years. So I just did like a quick Google image search of fireworks from the bicentennial from 1976, which was approximately, almost 40 years ago now, right? 70, 80, 90, yeah, about 40 years. And every video that came up, because there were some video results, and every picture result that came up, you could easily just put the date 2015 next to those pictures, and it's the exact same thing. Exact. And I did that too. I then pulled up pictures of a fireworks display from 2014 and 2015. And sure enough, looked exactly the same for the most part. So it's not like you're missing anything if you're not going and watching fireworks. And again, the kids thing, I get it. Yes, the kids want to see it, and that's cool. But as adults, as a 22-year-old man or a 41-year-old man, and I get it's on a different scale because these individuals here were probably, doing this at their home or a friend of a friend or whatever, for self-entertainment. But look what it gets yourself into. Number one, if you're going to even bother with fireworks, leave it to the professionals. Okay? Don't bring the heavy-duty shit in your backyard or your front yard and think you know what you're doing. Now, granted, there was a big accident with the professional display. This one was in Colorado, I think it was. There was some kind of malfunction with the display that was going off that night for the community, and 9 people got hurt. Thankfully, no one was killed, but 9 people get injured from stray fireworks or whatever. And it's like, man, we're shooting ourselves in the foot here. We're picking each other off with ease. So I don't get what, I sound repetitive, but I just don't get it. Like, everyone's so in awe of smoke and fire. It's like, you get a fucking book of matches in your cabinet. Just use that, Or is like a sparkler, is that not cool enough for you? Give a sparkler to like a 4 or 5-year-old kid. Supervised, of course. Please, supervised. And they're in heaven. They are obsessed with that thing. They think it's the coolest thing ever. That should suffice. Don't get your hands dirty. Don't. You're not a pyrotechnic expert, unless you are. Then okay, I'll give you a pass. But if you're Joe Schmo, who's about 12 beers deep, who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and is acting like a dumbass, chances are the results are going to be very, very ugly. And unfortunately, they were for some individuals this weekend. And this goes across all demographics, apparently, because there was also an accident, firework accident, with a member of the New York Giants football team. His name is Jason Pierre-Paul. He's a defensive end for the New York Giants. And he was, from what I read, he ordered a big, large quantity of fireworks the day before the 4th of July, obviously for a party that he was throwing or get together or whatever. And sure enough, Mr. Pierre-Paul injured his hand fairly severely in a fireworks mishap. Now, there's conflicting reports right now as far as how severe the injury is. There's one side that says there are pretty severe burns on his wrist, hand, and fingers and that it could potentially hinder his career. And there's another report that says it's not that bad. I hope for his sake that it's not that bad. I don't really want anyone to get hurt. But if this turns out to be a severe injury to where it could affect his playing career, this man stands to lose a minimum of $15 million. That's right, $15 million because he wanted to light off fireworks like a fucking 7-year-old kid. I don't know, do 7-year-olds light off fireworks, or is that too young? I'm trying to think like back to my childhood, and I was just never obsessed with the fireworks. Yeah, of course I've lit some off and everything, but I'm trying to think like when that age range was when I was like, and again, I wasn't obsessed with it, but like where I thought it was like cool and wanted to do it. Maybe 7's a little bit old or a little bit young, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But anyways, so he's actually unsigned at the moment, but the Giants just made him an offer for $15 million. Now they can retract that offer if it turns out that he's too injured to play or that it could affect his career. So Mr. Pierre-Paul could potentially lose out on $15 million because he wanted to play with some fireworks on the 4th of July. Bonehead. If I was a New York Giant fan, I would be flipping my lid about this. If I was in the front office of the New York Giants, if I was a teammate of Mr. Pierre-Paul on the New York Giants, I would be flipping my shit over this. A completely avoidable circumstance that could potentially cost not only one man $15 million, but a whole organization a potential Super Bowl ring. And I know those are material things. Glad he's okay. Absolutely. But you got to take this stuff in consideration, especially if you're a professional athlete. Now, I'm not going to sit here either and say we need to ban fireworks. I don't care if fireworks are legal or not. If they're legal, the dummies are going to pick themselves off. I just hope there's no collateral damage on the way down where innocent bystanders are affected or hurt. See, it's kind of like drinking and driving. And I am sure there were plenty of people drinking and driving this past weekend. I'm sure of it. You can say, well, there shouldn't be any laws as far as that goes. People if they're going to drink, let them drink. They're responsible for their own actions. That is true. But there's also that chance that they're responsible for hurting or killing someone else for their irresponsibility. So as far as the fireworks go, I mean, no, don't ban them. I mean, we're a little ban crazy these days in regards to everything. You know, we're banning flags for God's sakes now. Like, who gives a shit about the fucking flag anymore? We're not getting into that this week. Don't worry about that. Don't ban the fireworks, but maybe if you're going to have a couple juice pops, probably shouldn't be fucking with the fireworks, even if you're only 1 or 2 beers deep. Okay? Leave it to the professionals because you don't know what you're doing. And you add alcohol to the mix, and it's fucking nothing but bad news from there. Okay? So that's my public service announcement as far as the fireworks go. I'll get off that for now. But coming off the holiday on Sunday, there was a lot of rustling and a lot of talk about the Women's World Cup final between the United States and Japanese women's soccer teams. And if you don't know, the United States defeated Japan to become the World Cup champions, 2015. And congratulations to those ladies, well deserved. USA all the way. Everyone was very patriotic about that, actually. At least there was something that everyone was on the same side of in this country, and that was the U.S. women's soccer team. And to go back to Independence Day too, it was nice to see a lot of American pride that day. You know, whether you were on Facebook or Twitter or out in the community, everyone was an American that day. It really did seem that way to me, anyways. It didn't seem like there was too much focus on the negative things that are going on in the world and in the news today. So that was really reassuring to see. But back to the soccer. So everywhere I turn today, whether it's on the TV or on scrolling through Twitter or the Instagram or Facebook, whatever, it's all women's World Cup soccer. And like I said, I'm really glad and happy for the United States women's team that won the championship today, the World Cup championship. That's what it's even called. But I'll be frank with you, and I'll be honest and straight up. Like, I don't fucking know anything about soccer, like whatsoever. I just know you're not supposed to use your hands if you can help it. I know that. And I know that it's a long game, and I know that the game is very popular in other countries than the United States. But every so often, when there's a big soccer game or a big soccer tournament, you would think that soccer is like America's pastime, but it's closeted. Like no one fucking no one says it out loud until like the big game comes. And I find that to be a bunch of bullshit, to be, again, frank with you. Nobody out there is that big of a soccer fan in the grand scheme of things. Now, granted, yes, there are plenty of diehard soccer fans in the United States. That goes without saying. That's pretty obvious. I'd be stupid to say that it wasn't the case. There's plenty of soccer fans, diehards, in the United States. But what I see on social media, like on Sunday, after this game or during this game, like I like seeing the support. Like, hey, you go USA, go Team USA. We're here to support. Awesome. Okay, cool. But don't act like you fucking been following the team for like the past year, 2 years. Don't act like you know the fucking players' names until today when they come up on the graphic on the TV while you're watching the game. It happens every single year. And it was last year. I don't know what it was. Was it maybe it was the Men's World Cup last year? I don't remember. I just remember there being some kind of like big soccer game last year. And all these fucking soccer fans came out of the woodwork and were acting like they fucking knew a thing or two about the game of soccer. And me, as someone who doesn't know shit about soccer, knew they were full of shit. And that's exactly what I noticed today. I love it when they're like, oh, Carly, whatever the fuck. Oh, you know, she is on fire today, and she's, you know, oh, 3 goals. Take the name off the back of the jersey. Take the name off the graphic on the TV, and you got no fucking idea what that girl's name is. Take the commentators off the TV. Mute the TV. And you have no idea what's going on except you got to kick the ball in the other person's net, the other team's net. Everyone's a fucking soccer expert now. And a bunch of phonies. Everyone wants to look cool. Everyone wants to be able to fucking hashtag World Cup 2015. It's okay if you don't know anything about soccer. It's okay if you don't know shit about the World Cup or any of the ladies on the team. It's okay. You don't have to pretend like you're an expert or like you're in the, you know, you're on the ins of the whole game. Or you're better than someone because you know a little bit more than them. And believe me, if you know more than someone else about soccer, trust me, it doesn't fucking make you that cool, okay? No offense to soccer. But man, going back, it was a couple of days ago too. And I don't remember. It was, I want to say England versus Brazil. I could be wrong, but the girl on the England team, she scored a goal in her own net, which cost her team the game. It was a tie game at that point. And then her goal was the go-ahead goal. I don't know if it was the game-winning goal and it ended right there, but in any case. But man, that girl was heartbroken. And again, I don't know her fucking name. And I've seen the graphic, and I've seen the highlights a million times. I don't know her name. I'm not going to stand here and pretend that I know who the fuck she is. But all I know from a human aspect That girl was devastated. Devastated. It's like running the wrong way and scoring a touchdown for your the other team in the Super Bowl. That's what she did, and she was devastated. And it was really nice to see like her teammates really gather around and console her and let her know that, hey, man, it's just a game. Or, hey, girl, it's just a game. But, it got me thinking, if that had happened to a player on a team from a country that really, really takes soccer to heart and serious, like one of these South American teams, like an Argentina or a Brazil, could you imagine the world of shit that young lady would be in right now? I mean, if history repeats itself or history has taught us anything, it's that some people and in some countries take sports way, way too seriously. And let's take the United States out of the equation right now, because there's fucking boners in bars that get in fights over sports games on the regular out here. And that's just fucking stupid in and of itself. But in years past, man, there's been, and I don't know if it's happening on the female side of things, but I know it's happening on the male side of things where, mistakes like that happen. You score a wrong goal, or you miss a goal to potentially, win a big game. And these players are getting death threats. Their families are being threatened to be killed. And I don't know if any of these threats have ever, followed through or anything like that. But still, just the fact that someone would threaten your life or the life of your family over a fucking game is absurd to me. You are an absolute animal if you were to do something like threaten someone because of a game, of a sport. So I didn't hear any of that actually happening to this young lady from England, and I hope it doesn't. I hope it didn't. But man, you can only imagine what kind of stuff that she was feeling and emotions that were going through her at that time. So kudos to her teammates for rallying around her and not making her a martyr, but making her understand that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and in the end, it's just a game. But again, congratulations to the U.S. women's soccer team on their big, big win today. I would name you all by name individually, but I don't know who the fuck any of you are. But good job to all you guys. I don't know if you guys had a chance as far as the wrestling aspect goes, but there was a pretty big show over the weekend for the WWE. It was called The Beast in the East. It was a show that they held in Japan that was aired exclusively on the WWE Network. And they actually aired it live, the morning of July 4th, about like 2:30 a.m. So it was live Japan time. And the main draw of that card was Brock Lesnar, his first match back with WWE since WrestleMania. And I didn't watch it live because I'm not fucking staying up till 2:30 in the morning to watch wrestling. I got enough of it in real life. I don't need to lose sleep over it. Sometimes I lose sleep over wrestling enough. I don't need to lose any more from watching the show on TV. But I really, really enjoyed the show because it was so unique. It was only an hour and a half long, 90 minutes. I think there's maybe 5 matches tops. Very little talk, which is awesome. It was basically match promo package in some way, shape, or form. All the matches were pretty solid for the most part. Even the women's match was kind of but when the women's roster is really not too deep these days, it's kind of what you're going to get. But Brock Lesnar made his return, and he was super, super over with that crowd. They love that guy. There's a few guys they really like. That Japanese crowd, they really liked Lesnar, obviously. They loved Finn Balor, their hometown-made guy, even though he's from Ireland, but he cut his teeth in Japan for years and years, and he was a huge superstar there before he ended up signing with WWE. And Chris Jericho. They loved Chris Jericho out there. Loved him. And rightfully so. I mean, Jericho's done it all in the professional wrestling business, and he also had a lot of success in Japan before he had any success over here in the United States for the most part. But man, I tell you, that show was a really good show, very well produced, and if you're a professional wrestling fan or even a WWE fan for that matter, and you're not subscribed to the WWE Network, I don't understand how you can call yourself a fan. I really don't. The network's only $10 a month. $10 a month, and you have access to hours and hours and hours of content. And again, if you're an old fan, you have everything you need at your fingertips. And the network's only been out for like maybe a little bit over a year now, so they don't even have everything up. But there's enough up on that network to keep you ridiculously occupied. Whether you're an old fan, whether you're a new fan, whether you're a fan that, was there for a while, left and came back. I mean, there is so much that you can watch on that network. And for $10, that's a super steal. And let alone, it's a deal just for the monthly pay-per-views. I mean, if you're going to spend money on those, and that's what I don't get. There's actually people out there that will spend around $35, $40 a month on a pay-per-view when you can just subscribe to the network for $10 and get it included every month. You save $30 a month. But people want to do things the hard way, and people don't want to commit, I guess. But it's a super, super deal. I've been a subscriber since day one. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And I get my money's worth and then some. And like I said, this show was exclusive to the network. That the only way you were going to see that was being a subscriber to the network, unless you're one of those pieces of shit that hack stuff and, doesn't pay for the wrestling. And you can go fuck yourself. But, and here's the thing about the Japanese crowds. They're awesome I personally have never been to Japan to wrestle, but my tag team partner Gallo has many times, and even he'll tell me, he's like, those crowds are so interesting and so good to wrestle in front of, and they're just a special type of person or a special type of crowd. They really respect what you do, and the general consensus in wrestling, as far even like not just behind the curtain in the locker room, but even within the crowd and stuff, is that the Japanese fans are smart. The Japanese fans are some of the most respectful fans that there are in the world, and they really appreciate the art form of professional wrestling. And a lot of American fans have nothing but good things to say about Japanese fans, and rightfully so. It's well-deserved. But you know what I caught on this The Beast from the East special the other night? Do you know who was really, really liked and cheered by that crowd, almost to a superstar status? A man by the name of John Cena. Yes, I'm going back to John Cena. No matter how hard I advocate for Mr. Cena, there's still people out there that just refuse to understand how good the guy is. But you know who does understand how good the guy is? The Japanese fans. That's who. Because when he got announced and he was in that main event, it was a tag team match, main event. It was John Cena and Dolph Ziggler versus Kane and Wade Barrett. And John Cena was the last to be introduced. And they lost their shit for John Cena, that crowd. They're not going to lose their shit for someone they don't respect. Or someone that doesn't work hard out there. And I think John Cena has proven to the Japanese fans over the past 10 plus years that he deserves that type of ovation. And that's exactly what he got. So, if you're an American wrestling fan and you respect Japanese wrestling fans and Japanese wrestling in general, but you hate John Cena, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. But like I said, overall, really good show. New NXT champion Finn Balor defeated Kevin Owens for the title there. Pretty fun match to watch. Again, 1 zillion finishers kicked out of, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. If you haven't seen it and you have the network, definitely go back and take a look at that show. Moving on to some sports stuff going on. NBA free agency is running wild. LaMarcus Aldridge, who was the top prize in this year's free agency pool. He was the main guy that everyone was looking for. That was more than likely going to go somewhere else. I mean, obviously LeBron James opted out of his contract, but everyone knew he was going to go back to Cleveland. But LaMarcus Aldridge decides to go to the San Antonio Spurs, and he's getting paid. And there is so much money being thrown around in NBA free agency this summer. It is ridiculous. Hey, and good on these guys for cashing in. Good on them. You work so hard for so long throughout your childhood, throughout your adolescence, through high school, through college, now at a professional level. Now is your chance to get paid. And that's exactly what these guys are doing. They are getting paid. Now, there's been a shift in the way the free agent market is turning out. Now, years prior, top-level athletes would kill to play in a market such as New York or a market such as Los Angeles, especially for a team like the Knicks or the Lakers. That is not the case anymore. Now, there was a report earlier in the week, and I can't remember the name of the free agent off the top of my head. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I don't have it in front of me, but it's neither here nor there. But basically, the Knicks offered this young man max money over, I think, 3 to 4 year period. And we're talking max money, so we're talking about like $40 to $50 million range to come play for the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden in New York City, the biggest market in the country. And he turned them down to take less money to go play for the Bucks in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What has this world come to where someone would voluntarily choose to live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin over New York City? No, scratch that. Where they would choose to live in the state of Wisconsin over the state of New York. Now, I get it. New York City is not for everyone. Some people don't like the hustle and the bustle and the in-your-face attitude. But hey, you don't have to live in New York City if you're playing for the New York Knicks. There's plenty of suburbs out there that you wouldn't have to deal with any of that stuff. But come on. I mean, Wisconsin over New York or even Los Angeles? Good. Give me a break. I've been to Wisconsin once in my life, and it was in the middle of summer. And it wasn't too bad. And it reminded me a lot of actually upstate New York in the summer. Really, really nice place. I mean, really beautiful. But I could just tell what the winters were going to be like in a place like where I was in Madison. So a place like Madison, Wisconsin. And I was like, I don't know how anyone would want to live here. Scenery-wise, it's very, very appealing to the eye. There ain't shit going on there. And let's look at the lineage from a team like the Milwaukee Bucks over the lineage of the New York Knicks. But here's the thing. I mean, right now, where the teams stand, the Milwaukee Bucks are in a much better position to win than the New York Knicks are right now. And this is before the signing of this particular free agent. I can't think of who it is. But the Knicks are a mess. The Knicks are an absolute mess. And I said this the other day. In about 3 years' time, Phil Jackson is going to be regarded by New York Knicks fans as a super evil genius for putting together a championship caliber team from nothing, or he's just going to be heralded as a senile old man who's too much into his Zen stuff that has no idea about the league anymore and it's passed him by. And I really hope it's the super genius part because things are not looking pretty right now for the Knicks. They did make a couple signings, a couple pieces here and there. I hope they pan out to benefit the team in the long run. But again, only time will tell. So to all you NBA free agents out there that are still remaining, don't be afraid of the Knicks. Go pay a visit. You'll love playing in New York and get paid. Make sure you guys are getting paid. Other news as far as baseball goes, our boy A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, still just continuing to rake this season, but he ended up getting his 3,000th hit ball actually back from that young man that we spoke about a few episodes ago. If you remember, the young man that caught Alex Rodriguez's 3,000th hit, which happened to be a home run, he decided he was going to keep the ball and not give it back to Alex Rodriguez, as he's a self-proclaimed baseball collector who has apparently over 8,000 baseballs in his collection. And I called this right after it happened. This guy's looking for his 15 minutes of fame. And I advocated just to do the right thing and just give the ball to the fucking guy. For all the stuff he's been through, just do the human thing and give him the ball, or he's going to give you something in return, So this guy held the ball hostage for weeks, and they finally settled with him giving the ball back to the Yankees organization in return for $150,000 donation to his a charity that the kid actually works with quite often, and that's great. It's good that the charity is getting helped out there. I still feel like there's something there where this young man got something additional on the back end and it's not making the papers. But that's neither here nor there. It seemed like his 15 minutes of fame was diminishing down to maybe about, 2-3 minutes. So he had to do something to kind of stir the pot to make sure that he was able to keep his name out there in the news. So they settled on $150,000 charitable donation from the New York Yankees to the charity of his choosing. So the charity makes out in the long run. That's great. Alex Rodriguez gets the ball back, which is great. And actually, kudos to Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the man in charge of the New York Yankees, for going out of his way to make sure that he did everything and anything he could to get that ball back. And he didn't want to get that ball back for Alex necessarily. He went on record to say that he wanted to get that ball back for Alex's daughters, who were in attendance that day to see the milestone by their father, and he said that he felt that they deserved to have it, which I can't argue with that. And whether you like the Yankees or whether you hate the Yankees, if you're gonna argue that where the two girls don't deserve the ball, that means so much to their dad, and I'm sure it means so much to them, just because you have a grudge or this hate towards Alex Rodriguez, then get the fuck out of here. Don't listen to the show, okay? Like, let's. The main people I want listening to this show are good humans, okay? And the good human thing would be, if you get the ball, just give it to the kids, okay? Don't take out Alex Rodriguez's transgressions, again, that everyone else was doing. Don't take those transgressions out on his two kids, okay? So, kudos to all parties involved. The ball is where it should be. We move on. The All-Star game is coming up here in about a week and a half or so. So it'll be interesting to see if Mr. Rodriguez is named to the All-Star team this year. But I want to move on to a special little segment. And this one, and I haven't named it necessarily, but I was thinking about some stuff and actually ran across some things on. Let me put it this way. When I'm looking for material for this show, I can just go on Facebook and, man, it's like bombarding me. Like, yeah, this would be perfect. This would be perfect to talk about. So whenever there's like a writer's block or a podcast block, go right on Facebook, and there's always some kind of hot topic that I can kind of talk about. I don't always do so, but if I get stuck, I will. But this particular thing I want to get into here, this is going to be my public service announcement for the week for independent professional wrestlers that are out there. And this public service announcement is regarding two things. One, typing a promo on Facebook and posting it to a status. And number two, grammar. Now, the two kind of go hand in hand. But let's start with the promos first. Now, most independent professional wrestlers will be asked or required by a promoter to, more than likely not, film a promo in regards to their upcoming match or their upcoming appearance with their organization, kind of as a way to promote not only themselves, but the show and the organization that they're going to be wrestling with. Now, some people are comfortable doing so. Some people are not comfortable doing so. And again, these I'm talking about right now are video promos, ones that are video recorded so you can see and hear somebody. Those are very common in the world of independent professional wrestling. I have no problem with those. As far as the delivery of them, I mean, that's another story. I mean, there's people out there, independent-wise, that cut hell of good promos. Top notch. Good stuff. And there's other people out there that you're probably better off just not having them say a thing and just putting a picture of them up. Because people be more interested in the picture than what they have to say. But again, that's where, practice and getting in front of a mirror in your bathroom and talking to the mirror or videotaping yourself and watching it back. That's how you learn. Have someone critique. But I'm not talking about the video promos for the most part here. I'm talking about ones where guys decide that they want to write some type of diatribe on a Facebook status. Like it's an essay, but not, I don't want to say an essay, but number one, they're writing this. Let me tell you something, man. When I get you in the ring on August 22nd, blah, blah, blah. And number one, they're like tagging the person. So it's like, okay, you're like Facebook friends with the guy you're going to like wrestle. And hey, I get it. I get it. The general public is in on professional wrestling these days. I get that. But can we, for the life of God, please just fucking try to suspend disbelief for fucking 10 minutes? Please. Please. Just because someone pulls back the fucking curtain on The Wizard of Oz doesn't mean we got to fucking yank the guy out from behind it. It doesn't do anybody a disservice if you just fucking close the curtain. Okay? And to think that like someone is going to like take the time to read your fucking promo on them on Facebook. Like that's so like the change in times with the technology and stuff like that. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid. I am embarrassed when I see, not even if I'm involved in it. If someone does it to me, I'm like, oh, what the fuck, man? And I'll put it over. But if it's somebody else and I see them doing it, I am embarrassed for them and I am embarrassed for the person that they're doing it to. And this isn't me just calling anyone particular out. I'm not. Like, I'm completely not. And if someone was in front of me right now and said, hey, give me an example, I couldn't give you one. I don't know, to be honest. It's just something that I've seen over time, and it sticks in my brain. And I'm like, and there's been a point before, like, I want to talk about that when I get a chance to. Well, here's my chance, and I'm going to talk about it. A written promo does nothing for anybody except make a mockery of the professional wrestling business and makes what we do look silly. Okay, now, if you got a video promo, right, and you're going to post that and you put a little blurb right before it, okay, I get that. Okay, that makes sense because the majority of your point, what you're trying to get across, is going to be in the video part. And the video part is easier to suspend disbelief with. But if you're going to write, a paragraph on Facebook where you're fucking tagging, a million guys and like you lost me at the first fucking sentence because it stop it. What are we, fucking pen pals? What are we, in an old fantasy wrestling league from Pro Wrestling Illustrated? We used to have to write in promos and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a thing back in the day. Actually, I don't know if that was a Pro Wrestling Illustrated thing. That was like an internet thing. When the internet first came out, you could join fantasy wrestling leagues, and the whole premise was you basically wrote promos back and forth. I was guilty. I was like 14, 15 years old. But anyways, I'm a grown adult now. I'm past that. They're just silly. The written promos are silly, and they do nobody any favors, and no one buys it. Nobody buys it but you. It's an embarrassment. And to go on top of that, it's like the vast majority, I'm saying 75, 80, 85% of the people that do this, they can't fucking spell or use proper grammar for the life of them, and it makes them look like a dipshit. And it makes it look like any fucking high school dropout who doesn't know the difference between there, and there can be a professional wrestler. I mean, people look down on professional wrestlers as it is. I mean, can we please spare us the embarrassment and actually fucking use proper spelling and grammar when you're trying to articulate and get your point across? Is it that hard? And some people will say, "Oh, that's this minor thing. Like, why are you making such a big deal about, misspellings and stuff?" How can I take you serious if you can't spell? I can't. And I've not hesitated. If someone ever did that to me, my response to you will just be, "You're a fucking idiot. You can't spell there. You can't use the correct form of there in this context." And sometimes if you're on Twitter, you're limited characters and you got to, cut words down. That's another story. I get that, okay? But Jesus Christ, man, if you can't fucking spell, you shouldn't have a fucking Facebook whatsoever anyways. Or use the goddamn spell check. It's a fucking embarrassment. Embarrassment. Because again, look on the surface. Ask any regular Joe on the street what they think about professional wrestling and or professional wrestlers. And they're not going to have good things to say about them. A lot of the times they're going to be very misguided opinions. They're animals, they're unintelligent, they're just, they're phony, they're fit, hokey, whatever. Don't give them a reason to be justified by exposing yourself for not being able to read or write at a 7th grade level. I mean, is that so much to ask? Again, the business is exposed as it is. Can we please put some Band-Aids on the wounds at least? Instead of trying to rip them open even more? My God. You guys are better than that. I mean, I've seen some really good video promos of some people. And then they turn around and they do these written ones, and it's like, why the fuck are you doing that? Why are you wasting your time to look like an idiot? You look like a jobber. And I don't mean that like a jobber like in a good way, because there are good jobbers, okay? You look like a jobber in life. Like, you just fucking stop. Just stop. And if you are going to go the route and do the video promo, for fuck's sake, would it kill you to tilt your fucking camera phone horizontally? It's only fucking cavemen record promos vertically on a phone. I mean, I'm the most fucking least technically sound person that you'll ever meet for the most part. It's amazing that I'm even able to fucking record this thing every week. And even I know that I look like a fucking asshole if I record a video promo vertically. Flip the goddamn phone over, or the camera, or whatever. I don't even know if it works like that for a video camera. Horizontal. Horizontal is your friend. Vertical, you look like a fucking amateur. I don't get how you can look back at that and say, oh, this looks cool. No, it looks like you fucking recorded on a goddamn cell phone and it looks dumb. Fix it. Fix it. Take the time to invest in yourself. Take the time to make it look like you know what you are doing. It is not that difficult. It just takes a few minutes to slow yourself down and analyze yourself and what you're putting out and be able to criticize and critique what you are doing. Everything we put out is not going to be gold. Believe me, I would love every week when I put this show out to be absolute fucking gold and love it when I do. But every time I record an episode and I go back through and edit and listen to it, I fucking like, I could do better here. 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 That's why I always welcome feedback from people for this show. I don't want people just fucking getting a hold of me and saying, oh man, great job. I like that. I appreciate that when it's due, you know, if it's genuine. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm never going to turn someone away for fucking giving me honest feedback or critiques of my work, because that's the only way I will get better. I could have someone send something in to me and say, oh, you know what? You sound like this. I could say, fuck you. Not going to listen to you. But what is that going to do for me? That's not going to make me grow as a podcaster. It starts with yourself. Take a look at what you are doing and be willing to nitpick yourself. And then also let others that know what they're doing criticize or critique your work. And don't think it's just you being beaten down. That's not the case, especially in professional wrestling, especially in the indies. You need to be told what you are doing wrong, both in and out of the ring, in order to become a better all-round performer in and out of the ring. You need to know where you need to improve. It's just like in a wrestling match. If you're a wrestler and you ask for feedback from somebody, someone that's worth a shit will let you know what you did wrong. They're not going to always just give you what you did good or did right. They might mix the two in, like, okay, you did this good, but you really did this way, you really need to fucking like work on it. You really shit the bed in this part. You need to hear those things that you're doing wrong. But it starts with you. Just take 2 minutes, take a step back and look at your output, especially with these fucking online promos. And just a word of advice. If you're going to do the written one altogether, here's my advice to you. It's fucking shit. Delete it. Get rid of it. Don't use it. It takes 30 seconds for you to turn the goddamn camera on your cell phone, flip the camera so it's looking at you, put it on something sturdy, press the record button, cut the promo, and then cut it down. Again, if I can do that, fuck, anybody can do that. I don't do that. I take more pride in my work. Video is always better as far as a promo goes than writing something on the goddamn Facebook page. Oh, it drives me crazy. And if you're doing a video and you're going to upload it to YouTube or something, again, use that goddamn spell check. Use spell check. I get grammar can be kind of hard to correct without, there's no grammar check for the most part. Have a second set of eyes look at it. Remember, you want to be taken serious, I would assume. If you're in the wrestling business and trying to reach the top, I would assume that you want to be taken seriously. This is the start. This is where it begins. Everything you do, you need to second guess as far as critique-wise. You need to take a look at your output. If you honestly can sit there and say, oh, the written promos are cool, you're in the wrong business. You're in the fucking wrong business. If you ever go for a tryout with the big dogs, no one's going to ask you to fucking type a goddamn promo out. Don't worry, the writers will do that for you. They want to make sure you can deliver it on video. Practice that. Practice that. Get this concept of the written promo out of your head. But if you must, a couple sentences before you post your video will suffice. But that's my public service announcement to you wrestlers out there, whether indie or not or whatever, upcoming, been around for a while. But hey, I've only been doing this for a while, so what the fuck do I know? Anyways, that is going to wrap it up for this week. Episode 6 in the books. Again, want to thank you guys for joining us. If you guys have any, again, like I said, feedback, questions, comments, concerns, or show topics that you'd like me to cover on the show, please feel free to email the show at mail@nothingtoprovepodcast.com. Also, if you want to advertise yourself, your product, your service, your show, anything like that on the podcast here, again, send your inquiries to mail@nothingtoprovepodcast.com as well, and I'll get you some more information regarding that. Please go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes, on SoundCloud, YouTube, anywhere you can think of. Subscribe, like, and if there's a space for you to leave a review, please, please, please leave a review. It helps us in so many ways. I cannot express that enough. Also, we are on Facebook. Just search Nothing to Prove Podcast. And we are on Twitter at NTP Podcast. And you can find me individually at Dom, E-L Bomb. Those are on Twitter as well. Almost forgot to follow of the week. If you're still hanging in here with us towards the last part of the show, the follow of the week, go to Instagram and type in 90S Hip Hop Junkie. It's 90s Hip Hop Junkie. If you're a fan of really good hip hop music, go to this page, give them a follow. They always post a couple clips of some videos from the 90s of some really good hip hop music. When the music was much better than it is now. Very, very few artists out there are worth a damn these days. But in the 90s, there was a lot of good content out there with a really good message. So go to Instagram for the follow of the week. That is, again, it's 90S Hip Hop Junkie. Can't believe I almost forgot to give the follow of the week. What a man. Guess I got off on that tangent about the promos. Got a little carried away. But again, that's going to do it for us this week, you guys. Stay tuned to all the sites because there is a chance that we will have a bonus episode this week on Thursday. But just keep your eyes peeled for that. If not, I will see you guys for episode 7 of the Nothing to Prove podcast. This is Dom Vitalli saying, be good to each other and do good for each other. We'll see you later.